Alright, so we are live at the moment. Okay, let me just pop out this and bring it over here. Alright, okay, so hello, welcome. Thank you for spending your time today to lepa with me and talk with me. So basically, today on our first episode, we are just gonna, ease up into the basic topics that I mentioned to you guys previously. So let's just go around the table and just introduce ourselves. So anybody wanna go first?
Hi, my name is Chandrika. I'm basically working as a business development manager and I graduated in mass communication.
Alright, that's good to know. How about you, Dinesh?
Hello, hi everyone. My name is
So
Dineshwari, daughter of Subramaniam. I'm working as a primary school teacher. I have completed my studies until Masters in Administration and Management. Thank you.
All right. So we have two beautiful, educated girls over here. So when I ask them something, you for sure you guys gonna know that it's a legit answer. It's an educated answer. It's not some answer that they just brought it out of their pocket or something. All right. So first of all, let me just start off by asking when okay about love, okay, because most all three of us came in from can I say an Indian heritage, because an Indian heritage usually has a taboo of don't date, just study, but at the end of the day when you get married at 24 they just throw you down to some stranger and keep asking, when is the baby coming, when is the family starting, and those kind of things. Do you think it's a taboo to be in love? Let's mark the bench at maybe at secondary school.
Mm-hmm.
So let our teacher talk first lah, because she has more experience handling kids and everything.
Okay, actually, I have experience in handling kids at primary school level, so I'm not a secondary school teacher. So,
but
but
but for
to
but for
be
sure
honest,
for sure you have experience on this, right?
yeah, actually the upper kids, they are more to in that stage, we can see among them. So actually, this taboo will begin in level of secondary school students. As I experience also in our own family, our parents will not allow us to focus on love, right? Uh, even they got to know also what they will talk always is about just focus on your studies, get good marks. That's the thing they will talk about first. So but for now, what we can see in our generation is even in primary school level they already started falling in love, and they continue to next secondary level. They like not like our time, we know how to take care of ourselves. But this generation, they are more exposed to technologies, so they mingle around. They are very freely mingling around with other people's. They falling in love. We can see that clearly in our generation actually nowadays. That's what I can see. And I don't think so there's a taboo in our culture. Even there's a control, but they are more freedom to choose their path on their own way.
No,
So what do you
no,
think about that?
no taboo in our culture right now, or would you say there's no taboo? There was never a taboo.
Not to say never a taboo. It's can we can see, obviously, not like in our time. So I don't think so. We cannot say never. We cannot say either there is taboo. It's in between now.
Okay, cool. How about you, Chandrika? What's your opinion?
Yes, I actually completely agree with her. During our previous time, especially about 20 years ago, it's a taboo. I mean, it is still a taboo in certain, depending on where is the upbringing coming from. If you're in KL, the upbringing is very different. If you're in maybe Sungai Petani Kedah, the upbringing is different. So there is still the taboo there. But I believe that people are, due to the digitalization of what's happening right now, the advancement of digitalization, things are changing. People are much more evolved. It's so diverse. The culture is so diverse. We are able to even connect, like from Facebook to, let's say from Facebook, you have a friend in US, you have a friend here in Malaysia, in wherever it is. You already have so much exposure on social media and all that, that the taboo is already being reversed. So you are much, we are getting much more advanced, we are getting much more better. Previously, last time we only had like in MTV, what's it, TV7, TV3 and all that, we have only certain type of choices of things to watch. So we are not so exposed to the love, the romance and the movies that is right now. Currently we have Netflix, Disney Plus and all, where we get all this kind of exposure, and then we have this implemented in schools and all that. So right now I think parents are slowly starting to understand this. At the same time, they are trying to educate their kids about, I believe they are not they are not educating their kids as much, which is should be done actually.
Okay. What you said right now, the parents are not educating their kids enough, right? Like, I agree with that. Like, basically they are letting the internet do the parenting rather than they be the parent themselves, which leads to many bad things actually. Because from what I've noticed, if you guys know, I'm not sure whether you guys know this or not, but the latest generation that we call the Gen Z guys, you know, the 16, 17, 18, 20 years old guys, they are being strongly influenced by the Western culture. For example, you know, we are all adults over here, so let me just be frank, you know. They post very intimate things on Twitter, admitting to intimate things on Twitter, which may perhaps when if there was social media during our time, maybe we would have been stupid like that as well. But you know, thank God there was no big social media during our time. So when we were stupid, we were only stupid with our friends. The internet doesn't know when we are stupid. But this is a big disadvantage, I would say. And okay, moving on. As since I know both of you are in a very stable, happy relationship with your significant other, so what would you look for someone before settling down with them? Before you know, if we are dating, we would say we are window shopping, we are going through the market, grocerying the products and everything. But now, since both of you have already settled down on a relationship, on a significant other, what would you look, what is the top 3 things that you would look into before considering to settle down with your significant other?
Okay. For me, I would say the first thing is respect. Respect is very important, both sides. It's not just him, but it's also for me. The second thing is to not be controlling, to have his own ambitions, his own career in life. At the same time, his own friends where he can go. It's not just me alone. So, and I am free myself to do whatever the choice that I want. Let's say because I want to have a career, I want to be able to develop myself and be in a situation where I can choose anything I want to choose, but I know at the same time I have a significant other, which he should have this. And the third one is chemistry, obviously the mindset itself. So the mindset must be, it doesn't mean that interest can be different. He can like, for example, he's into bikes, for example, and I'm into maybe going to the gym. So completely different aspects that we are looking at. But at the same time, the chemistry, the mindset of okay, this is what I want to do. The goals. For example, the goals in life, I want to have this particular part, career part, this particular financial stability, this particular thing. So the mindset of how we want to grow together should be there. So this is the top 3 choices that is important to me.
Okay, just before Dinesh goes through, I just want to double check with Clara. You mentioned that uh, one of your points was he has something of his own interest to do. You have something of your own of your interest to do. If let's say you can explain to me whether this is your personal opinion or whether this should be generally practiced. Do you think if both of the girl and the guy and the girl, if they are very codependent on each other, like they do not have anything big going on outside of their life, they do not have friends. I'm not saying they do not have friends because nobody wants to become friends with them. It's just like they are very very introvert. They don't make effort to mingle outside of their comfort zone, so their significant other is their comfort zone. So do you think it's a bad thing to be codependent?
I would say yes to an certain extent. When you're too dependent on each other, right? You do not end up finding what is your passion or your interest. You, like, for example, this is me. This is this is Clara. For example, this is who I am. This is my interest level. This is what I like. You end up being too codependent. You do not try to see other things outside. It's okay to not have so much friends. You have one or two, or even if you don't have friends, it's okay. But to have a different interest or to go out and do something that is a bit more not, you are already 24/7 with it. You don't want to be 24/7 with one person. You want to mingle around, you want to go out, because at the end of the day, people look for connections. Why do we have social media for? We go around looking for connections and in people with similar interests and all that. So to an extent, yes, you can be codependent, but at the same time, you need to breed. You both need to have your own standpoint of who you are as a person and what you want to do as well, because this creates a much more healthier relationship. I personally feel, because throughout my relationships that I have been in, I realized codependency in my past relationship didn't work out, because you're too dependent. You don't go outside of your comfort zone. Everything is together only, so you don't have a life as a whole. But when I have a relationship where I can do what I want to do, I realize I have my own growth and my own personality that is in play here, that is apart from him.
Okay, I understand. So basically, like, if you are too codependent on each other, let me simplify. You just tell me whether that's true or not. So, basically, you're telling that if you are too codependent with each other, you would never truly understand yourself. You would just be
Yes.
living with each other, just be going through, like, you would never improve yourself. You would never. Okay, okay. Great point. Great point. I can second that. I totally agree with that. How about you, Dinesh?
Okay, for me, the first thing I would look into is trust. Trust is the main key source for a relationship to last long, you know. So when we have the trust in our partner, we can have the courage to decide whatever we would like to do in our life. So when we have the trust, uh, can the love between our relationship will grow more stronger. So that's the first thing I will look into. Second is understanding. So as a partner in relationship, we must understand each other, so that the understanding is can be in a communication form. And without communication, we must know, as we are in love, we know our partner, their pros and cons. So we must understand their level. So in which point they will get angry, you know, and then which level of life we can sort out things together. So we must have the understanding, and we must understand both of our side family also. So this will lead to a good relationship in the future. And third, affection. Affection, in my point of view, we must have the love and care towards our partner. So when we have love and care towards our partner, we will not go beyond anything. So we will be in our comfort zone, and they will also respect our privacy, and they will give importance to our own activities like Clara said, going out with friends, hanging out with friends, spending time with our family members, even in relationship or after marriage, something like that.
Okay. So, both of you guys are basically cascading the same first point that I explained just now, lah. It's very hard to be codependent because it's very hard to identify yourself. What are your weaknesses and everything? Yeah, I truly understand that. All right. But I was expecting both of you to tell one point which you did not mention. Must your significant other be financially stable before you can commit to them? As a woman, what do you think? Because as a man, personally, I feel like a man. Okay, I'm not speaking like a feminist right now because I personally don't believe feminism. Just to put it out there. So for me, if a girl is willing to commit to me, I personally have to have a stable financial background, because for a man, there's a saying, mothers, women, animals are loved no matter what, but a man is only loved when he provides something. I do not say that is a bad thing though, because traditionally over hundreds of years, if we even went back 500 years, 1000 years before, war generals, commanders are all commanding. It's a male who commands everything. So from a traditional standpoint, I would say that if a guy does not have his own shit together, he could not take care of another person, and furthermore down the road take care kids, make strong family decisions and everything. That's my personal take. But what do you think? Should a guy have his shit together before you can decide to commit to him?
Well,
Okay, for me, as I mentioned the point understanding, right? We must understand the level of financial status of our partner as well. So for me, a guy or a girl, they need to be financially stable before they commit into a relationship. That's the best way to lead a marriage life to a stable, and mentally and physically we will be stable without stress thinking about our financial status in the future. So I think we need to be uh, independently and dependently financially stable in our relationship. So that's my point of view.
How about you, Clara?
I agree with Dinesh. But when we talk about financial stability, right, there is until to a certain extent of how, because you will always have commitments, no matter how which level you are, commitments are there. But when you say he has to get his shit together, right? For example, these things, it's not just him; it's also the women as a whole. Like what Dini said, both, whether it's a guy or a girl, both of y'all need to have a financial planning, have some form of savings at least, to think about what is, because nowadays having a child is not cheap; it's expensive. Having a house, having a car, these are all things that is very it is a burden that you need to think of in the future and in the long run. So if both sides, especially now with women as well, a lot of majority of women are working and are moving forward with their careers and all. It shouldn't just be on the guy's perspective, or think that he needs to be the one that's carrying or be responsible with the family. It's the same thing as a house chore. It's no more the other way around, where you just say females are the only one that needs to clean up the house and do the housework. Nowadays, guys are doing the same thing as well. So it's a job for both people to be fine, at least to a certain extent of having financial planning, financial stability before moving on to having a life together.
All right, okay, I understand. So one of the example that you gave, like traditionally, if we forward back 100 of years ago, only girls will be doing the chores and everything. But as the time goes on, we find that we ourselves are doing the chores. I totally agree with that. I personally learned the chores thing from my father, because my father does do housework and everything, and I learned it from him. But there are some of my friends, when I was 16, 15 years old, I would say, hey, I need to go home early because the next morning I have to wake up early to do this and that, this and that. They would be very surprised, because at their home, most of it is done by their parents, and most of these responsibilities are not cascaded to them. Maybe those responsibilities came to me earlier because I was the last kid in my family, and so obviously my parents, they are quite old already right now itself. So at that moment itself, they were already 40 plus or something like that. So maybe that was one of the key points that I would say because my friends' parents, they were quite young. Even now, I would say now only they reached about 50, but my parents has already reached plus 60 at the moment. So maybe that is one of the point. But that's good. Okay, let me give you one example. Guy A, because this not an example. Let me tell you a story. So back when I was in middle school, around 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, that moment, I had a friend who is truly in love with this girl. He's been in love with this girl ever since primary school, and he only approached her when she was in the secondary school. They had a good relationship, but when both of us are the same age, the girl and the boy were the same age, but when they were 21, 22 years old, my friend, he basically, like what I mentioned just now, financial stability, he does not have his shit together at that moment. But she was going through a very ridiculous pace of career. She's going in another zone, and she realized that at that moment that he is not keeping pace with me, because I would put her as a high value woman. I would put her in that category. So she found out that he is not keeping a pace with her career, and she decided to end it. We, at that moment, as friends, we started shit talking the girl lah, saying that, hey, what's wrong with my friend? My friend is so good, yada yada yada. The typical Indian guy bullshit. But now, when I got married, when I'm in a relationship myself, when we are sharing expenses, when we are planning things overhead, I realized that actually we were in the wrong. She actually thought of her future, and she decided, okay, it's time to fuck off. Okay, I'll just fuck off. But 10 years ago, that Kugan would be still, bashing up that girl, saying that, hey, what kind of bitch lah she is. She's going there. She's leaving my friend after so many years. But now I personally do understand. Like personally, I would say my wife would not have married me if I do not have my shit together. Not to say that I'm fucking rich or anything, but I kind of did have my shit together a bit, and I had some shit splattering around, but the relationship grew. When we are together, we figure out how the relationship goes back and forth and everything, and she kind of like helped me to fix up my financial issues and everything, and things went towards that. I would say that is good. So my next question, my next question, if you guys don't feel like answering, you just can mention that I don't feel like answering. Okay, what is the most toxic relationship that you have ever been in?
I can give it as a general answer, if that's possible. I think the most toxic relationship, but it's both sides, right? Because I was also very young, so I could be also one of the toxic person in the relationship. You never know. But one of the reasons why I left is, one is dishonesty, and the second one would be because it was controlling. Every time you need to be on the call, every time you need to answer the calls, and you're on a controlling state like that, and
But was that you or him?
oh, that was him, not me.
Okay.
Yes, it was completely different. So that's where I decided to end it, because I didn't want to be in a relationship. I am a kind that have my family, especially with my. So
Clara, we can't hear you. I think your mic, something went wrong with your mic.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yep. Can now
Okay.
can.
So, one of the things is I like to spend time with my family and all. So when things was like I need to be on call in the morning, evening, night, 24/7, and if I don't pick up, there was like 100 missed calls just to talk. So it felt very, suffocated in a relationship. At the same time, the choosing. Do you choose me or your family? This was the question that he asked. Do you choose me or my family? So this shouldn't even arise in a relationship, right? It's not about choosing. Your family's love is different. In fact, he should be encouraging to be more go back to your family. That's what both sides needs to do. So it's not just me. Maybe in the relationship I also have been quite ignorant, like I ignore the message or calls and I get so frustrated. So it's both sides of it. So this is a toxic relationship that I face having said.
Okay. So Dinesh is not gonna answer this. She already told me that she does. She's not gonna get. But so since Clara has participated, let me tell a story of mine lah. Okay, I have you beaten over here, Clara. 100 missed call. I had a ex girlfriend who called me the maximum 368 times.
Oh my God.
Oh my god.
That's too much.
That's a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
Two digit is too much.
Yeah. Exactly like what you told me. I have to be on call with her 24/7 when I'm out with my friends. Last time we do not have smartphones and everything. It's just the normal phone, right? So we cannot video call and prove that I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Because if you are not, if you don't know, I'm a bit of a gamer like Ronnie also lah. We used to go to the cyber cafe and stay there until 5 o'clock in the morning, just playing games only. But she wants me to prove it, so the basic thing that she wants me to prove it is I have to stay on call with her throughout the whole time, so that she can listen that what's going on and everything. So yeah, I truly understand you, but
Understand?
but I win in this. I got 368, you got only 100.
Yes.
All right, so moving on to the next one. What are your thoughts of staying with your in-laws? Like after marriage, straight away you're gonna stay with your in-laws. What are your thoughts? Let Dini answer about this.
Okay, thought on living with in-laws. For me, as a couple was staying in a relationship, they must discuss earlier whether they are going to. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. They can discuss together whether they are going to live in together with their in-laws or they are going to living apart from their in-laws. For me, I would say I would agree with both. In case of we have the chance to live with our in-laws, there are pros and cons. If in case there are only parents in our in-laws house whom we need to take care of, the burden is less, so the responsibility will be lesser, so we can able to take care of our parents-in-law in case they are too old and have health issues. At the same time, we also can be able to learn a lot of things such as cooking from our mother-in-law and family management from our father-in-law because they are more experienced. So on time to time we can refer to them if we have any issues rising in our family management. More other than that, we will be also able to get moral support. You as a married couples, you will not feel lonely when one of our partner went for work far from our staying place, so we will have someone to accompany us all the time. At the same time, we also no need to be in the state of worry, whether our parents are in safe zone or healthy wise they are okay or not, so we don't need to think about it. Even our partner need not to worry about that during their working time. So if you look at the negative side, I would say when we are staying with parents-in-law or in-laws, there will be less privacy for us and freedom. Like when you are staying apart, we have more chance to discuss together. we will be on our own feet. We will not depend on our in-law side, you know. So we can discuss and make decision together, but when we are with in-laws, we have to need to involve them in our decision as well. So there will be more responsibility like work, family, and financial status. We will not only be managing our finance status only. We need to look into our in-laws members as well. So to sum up, if one can tolerate the non-beneficial's point of view, they can consider to live together with in-laws.
Okay, that's good to hear. But a bit of both lah, pros and cons on both. You got to outweigh it. But I feel like it's a bit like a 50-50. Like whichever decision that you make, there will be a fallout on one other side. You cannot be totally happy with that. So how about you, Clara? What do you think?
I completely agree with Dinesh. Actually, it's a very subjective manner, especially depending on the situation that you're in and all. Like she weighed the pros and cons of it. The pros of living with them, in case if you have some, you always have companion in the house. At the same time, if you have kids, especially right now with both sides, a lot of them are both sides working. You have someone to help us take care of them, teach us the ropes of the life and all that. The cons of it is, you need to, if you want to live with your in-laws, then like what she said, you need to be prepared that both sides are very different from each other. So you need to learn to compromise, come to a common ground that you need to abide by. So that's the cons of it. Where if there is a dispute, there's families that I know people actually personally that live with their in-laws and they are still very happy and living in a good one. And I also know people that live with their in-laws and things are quite south with them because the expectation of both sides are very different. But you live together when you get married, so that's a good thing because you're starting your own life together. You have a mission where you do it, you from your father and how your mother did it. Now it's your turn to teach your child, to start up your own plan, to have your own how your lifestyles and your culture and everything is. But either way, it doesn't matter because even like when they are older, you need to think of it as, even when they are older, they need to also be taken care of, as time goes and all that. So I think it's a very subjective matter how both sides have discussed this from the start, like what Dinesh has said.
Okay, understood. All right, so next one. Okay, do you think the current generation has gone soft? For example, they complain about everything. Let's be real, they complain about everything. Those things that we never even thought of complaining during our teenage years, they are complaining. Some of the things we feel like, hey, that's kind of true. But some of the things we feel like, just no, stop being a pussy, just suck it up and just do your shit. So as a teacher, let's ask the teacher first. Do you think the current generation is soft? Because I've read articles and stories that when the teacher whacks the student, the parents bring police to the school and like, hey, how can you hit my kid and everything. So what do you think about that?
I think our current generation is really being very soft, it obviously we can see, as I'm teaching the younger kids whom their age is 7, their family background, they are being too pampered. Not like our time, our parents a little bit strict with, not little bit, they are strict with us at the same time. They also pour love and care towards us, but discipline wise, there is a limit, and we go and complain anything happen in school during our time, we will get back double at home. But this time the kids are like, they go and make up stories which never happened in the classroom or with their friends, or whichever the teacher never told. Also they will make up the story and they tell to the parents, and parents tend to believe their kids. more than they should investigate what had actually happened. They should discuss with the teacher first, but they are not giving that opportunity, and not giving the importance. So I think the main cause is the children are being too pampered from home, from all the family members especially.
Uh,
That's
do
the main reason.
do you does it affect your teaching capability when there are parents like this? Do you feel that you cannot maximize your teaching potential when there are roadblocks like this from the parents?
Not to say I cannot maximize my potential level. It's actually it takes time for me to learn new things, how to tackle them. Actually, it's quite challenging stuff. But we need sometime. When in my career experience, I had like 1 month gap time to learn about the kids, which they are newly entered the primary school level. So the time zone take longer compared to previous kids.
Okay, so basically
Challenging lah.
so ba-
Basically, it's challenging to handle nowadays kids.
yeah, so basically the teacher has to do more work but still gets the same salary as before. Basically that's it lah.
What to do?
All right, Clara, how about you? What do you
Cannot be
think?
changed.
I believe that
Yeah, mic issue again.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
I can't use the earplugs, that means.
Okay. So what's up? What's your point on this? Do you think they are soft?
They are definitely soft, but at the same time, the they have pros and cons. Like how we were in our pros and cons days, they're much more spoiled a little bit, much more harder to deal with. But at the same time, the level of they are smart in terms of digitalization. So I feel like now the world, since it's going so digital, and the amount of opportunities and things are there, right? So they're quite spoiled in that sense because there is so room of having too many opportunities. So they think that they are self-entitled in this sense. But at the same time, they are quite smart digitally. If you ask them to be, if you give them an iPad or you give them something technological or IT related things that, I mean, in the basic level, they're smart enough to operate. Even kids nowadays, like at the age of 5 or 7, right? 5, 6, 7, they are smart enough to know more things compared like biology, or you ask them something as basic as the sun, the moon, the things like this, right? They have, since they are on the iPad and they have or even on TV and all that, right? They have a lot of knowledge that they gain at a younger age compared to us. So there's like there's a boom of pros here, and then there's a big gap of cons as well. That is, it also filling the gaps in how to make them stabilize in between, where privilege is not shouldn't be a thing for them. At the same time, giving them that chance to express and be free to choose a thing. That's a gap that we still are trying to figure out how to fix, even in parenting and all that. I think that's the gap they are trying to fix right now. But like what she said, parents itself are over spoiling kids. They are giving them the basically whatever they want, whatever they think, because they think that the parents before this, the generation before this, they hit us, they whack us, and also our when they became parents, or before they became parents, I will not do what my parents did. That's what they always say, but they don't realize that.
And then they create a whole new fuck up. That's what they
Yes,
do.
yes. So that is the problem here. So there is a fine line, a huge line of how we want to suppress or how to control this situation. Actually, it is even in working world, like candidates that come to, for example, working in a hiring company, or you hear some of the stories of hiring companies talk, right? They say that some of them are very entitled. The way they come for interview, they're not prepared. They don't wear jackets, they don't wear this, so they're quite entitled in that sense, thinking that, oh, I come out from university, I deserve a 3.5 or 4K salary without experience or knowledge of what they are supposed to do. So the entitlement issue here is a very big problem that's why it's causing this chain reaction towards it.
So the parent has to find the balance lah, like what to teach them and the things that we are providing to them, because right now they have the internet. The internet is both good and bad. So basically the parents has to learn how to control, learn how to manage. That's it.
Yes.
Okay, in TikTok right now, right, there's one famous thing going on called gentle parenting. I'm not sure if you guys heard that or not. So basically gentle parenting means that you should never scold or you should never beat your child. So the way that you parent is, so for example, okay, this is the kid, huh? This is the kid. So I'm the father. I'm asking him to, hey, go wash the dishes. He responds to me back saying that I don't feel like doing it. You do it yourself. Okay. Situation one, the parent smacks his head. Go do it. Okay, that's situation one. Situation two, gentle parenting. What they are telling us is, how should we respond to the kid is, hey, have I ever talked to you like that? And then the kid will respond back saying that, hey, no, I've never talked to you like that. And then we ask the kid to fix his response. This is just one situation. Fix his response saying that, okay, if you don't feel like doing it right now, you should actually respond saying to me, hey, I'm doing this right now. Can you give me 5 minutes? Can you give me 10 minutes to finish this? And then I'll come and do the thing that you asked me to do lah. But personally, this is where I'm on the fence. Some kids, I feel okay. Let me correct that. All kids, they are basically a blank piece of paper. Whatever we write on them, that's how they will grow up. But do you think that some kid, they are born like naturally they are very naughty, that you can't have gentle parenting with them? Like once in a while you gotta smack the head and hit the reset button on their ass, and do you think gentle parenting is something that is possible? Because I personally feel gentle parenting is what is causing the Gen Z to become too soft. I'm not saying smack them until they bleed or what, not smack as in like a discipline slap on the head, or something small like that, or just a stern warning saying like, hey, stop that shit, or something like that. So obviously none of us are parents over here, so we would not know 100% how to respond on this. But what do you think is the best way to go through this? Do you think gentle parenting works?
I don't think so. I mean, my parents hitting me actually brought me up to become someone right now where I have manners and all. I mean, imagine if there's no punishment. When the child knows there's no punishment and you tell them to do the dishes and they say no, and then you explain to them, do you think they will listen? I mean, we all ourselves were teens, right? How much did we were also rebels. We also didn't do anything unless there was a punishment involved. Even as a whole, generally, we have something called law. If we break any laws, we will go through punishment. And that's what makes us in fear. Because of the fear that there is consequences to our action, we grow up knowing, okay, this is a right move. If I don't do, this is the outcome of it. Some children, yes, you can do this gentle parenting, but like what you said, not every child is the same. So imagine having someone that's really difficult or stubborn, that's not going to listen. That gentle parenting might not really work, because they are smart enough to know there is no cause of any punishment to their actions.
Yes, I agree. How about you, Dinesh? What do you think of this? Do you think gentle parenting would work, or do we have to hit it sometimes to hit the reset button on their ass?
I think for these current Gen Z, maybe the gentle parenting could be work, because the idea behind this parenting is to approach kids with respect and empathy, right? So in order to offer them choices rather than make demands, to give space to the child's feeling and emotion, and avoid we say losing their cool in frustrating situations. and they are too anger, sometimes they will not listen to their parents, and they tend to break anything that they find reachable to their hands, something, right? So I think this way maybe we can mold the child to be more listen to their parents. uh, Parents will not hit them, we no need to hit them till they bleed.
Yes.
So because in this situation we cannot raise a child by beating them, to show them if you don't do anything, I will beat you. We cannot use that technique nowadays. So gentle parenting might help them to grow up more disciplined. That's what I think.
Maybe me and Clara are coming on a perspective where we deal directly with those adult Gen Z in the office that we cannot handle, but she is coming from a teacher's perspective because she's raising the next generation, so she knows what's going on and everything. Yeah, pros and cons lah. This one, everything is pros and cons, I would say. Okay, all right. Do you think, okay, this is such a random question, so we're going to move on a little bit from love life and everything. Okay, do you think there is how do you say, I just wrote this down here. Okay, do you think there is sexism in career place, saying that there's you don't get paid enough for the role that you do just because you're a woman? I'm pretty sure Dinesh would not have any affection on it because she's working in the government field. Everybody gets paid by your grade and everything. I think we can relate more because both of us are working in the private sector. Do you think that there's a sexism or a gender pay gap? Yes, that's the word that I was looking for. Do you think that's real? Do you think gender pay gap exists?
Yes, definitely. Because I've worked in different industries, as much as I do not want to say there is this gender, playing these cards of gender, sexism and all that. I personally have been through this myself. Sometimes you can work like 10 times harder, but because you are not going tetare or you're not the boss's friends, yeah. So
Okay.
you don't end up getting the seat. So it was played very well even throughout my career, or as I'm working now the company that I'm working in, which is much more nicer, which is much more flexible, remote working and all that. But the based on not all the companies, but based on some companies that I've worked for, these were things that played out in the past. But you can see even in the aviation line how many women are actually working engineers. If you see engineers and all that, when they go into these kind of fields, right, they actually experience it more because the pool of male dominated the pool of male is much more higher compared to the females. So even climbing up and all that, you need to work 10 times harder to prove yourself because it's still considered alien a bit. But it's changing. The good thing is it's changing. You can see that now people are, for example, Tan Sri Vincent Tan, he has changed all his board of directors into all female board leaders. So these are things that so Tan Sri Vincent Tan is basically Berjaya's owner itself. So he itself changed these things. So you can see that slowly Malaysia is trying to change that norm, even though it was happening, throughout the years, and the experience of it wasn't so pleasant.
Okay, Tan Sri Vincent changed his board of directors from all female, from mix or maybe all male to all female. Couldn't the guy come and scream sexism right now because his board of director does not have male candidate?
Yes, I agree. This is something that you should scream out as well. So it should be a balance. It should be
Yes.
equality in terms of. I completely agree with you. This thing can be changed. This thing can be a point where you can argue, because now the females there should be balance. There shouldn't be too much of it. It should be balanced where if you're good with your job, if you're amazing with your career, then you should take the lead. It shouldn't matter whether you're a female or a male. Let's simplify as that. Doesn't matter whether you're male or female. If you're doing a great job, it should be based on your job and your performance. shouldn't be based on gender, which is still a card that's playing outside.
Yep, correct. And rewinding back when you said that engineering, aviation, there's like a male male populated career path where a lot of males. I truly understand that because I've seen a couple of lady engineers who cannot go through that field, and then they feel like, no, I'm not getting the promotion I need, so they just switch sector, go to consulting or analyst or something like that. But can I argue saying that most women would not actually want to do the male dominated jobs? For example, I'm not saying just engineering, let's bring in plumbing, let's bring in construction, let's bring in oil and gas, because this kind of job is high risk, high reward. Wouldn't you say that most women would not want to do a high risk job compared to a man?
Yes, I would agree with you on this. Women do not want to have basically anything that is much more. It's still so yes, I agree with you in the sexism part. It shouldn't just be male or female being placed there. So in this, whether it's plumbing services and all these things, I agree with you. Women are not interested or they don't want to go through it because, but I don't know whether to argue in the terms of the physical, even your physical build itself is not something that you want to do, or it's not biologically fixed for you to do it. Like for example, man has been in construction for as long thousands and thousands of years, where this is not for women's build to do it itself. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's move on to the next one. All right. For this is specifically for Dinesh actually. Nowadays, when you click on YouTube, there's everything like how to do maths, how to do ed maths, how to do biology, how to do coding and everything. When there are moments like this, right, do you think tuitions are still important? Do you think tuitions are still something, a crucial part of the child's education?
I think tuitions are crucial part, because parents, they cannot monitor their children all the time, whether they are really on the thing into the YouTube. So they tend to look for tuition for their kids. They don't prefer online education. When they prefer online education also, they must need an assistant at home. So the parents, they must spend time together with their kids to have online classes. So I think tuitions play a more crucial part in nowadays life rather than online classes. And as you said, the YouTube, we have a lot of content in YouTube, but we cannot. The parents, they cannot just let the phone to the kids and ask them to look through the YouTube content and make them understand. They actually need a tutor or a guidance to make them understand a certain topic. They cannot just watch and view a video. They are able to solve a math solution or anything.
Would
Those
you, would
crucial
you
part.
would you say if the kid just stays home, okay, let's assume he has his mother is stay at home, his mother is quite educated as well, so they are going to do this everything online without tuition, just school and online, do you think that this would also affect the kids socialism? Like he would be very introvert, he does not want to mingle around with anybody, he just wants to stay alone. Do you think that could be a possibility as well? Do you think tuition, that's one of the pros of tuition?
Yes, definitely. If you just let the kid to be at home all the time, facing the four walls, definitely it's going to spoil them. They don't have the socialize skills. This is the age they need to socialize with friends, mingle with friends other than their school friends. They get to know other friends from other schools. So I think this is one of the pros. The tuitions are getting higher pay nowadays.
Okay, true. At the end of the day, so we can all agree that supervision and parent management is a big influence on how the kid is going to grow up lah, whether he becomes a hero or he becomes a zero. Okay, that's good to know. Good to know. All right. All right. Another thing. Now you know, okay, everybody knows USA is the power of the world. They, whatever they decide, whatever trend that they set, it influences the world, because everybody will be like, hey, look at that Mat Saleh, we must follow the Mat Saleh rules and everything. But I can tell you 100%, I've worked with many Caucasian people, I've worked with many foreigners. There's no difference between us and them. Kita bodoh, mereka pun bodoh. Itu sama saja semua benda. So on regards to that, let me bring up to a topic that that I think is quite important on this matter, because it involves children. You know, right now in US, in Canada, in UK, they are letting kids as young as 4 years old. I'm not sure whether you guys know this or not. Kids as young as 4 years old to medically transition into the another gender. Like basically okay, in Canada, this one is I'm 100% sure. The others all I'm not 100% sure on regards to the law. But in Canada, there is a rule saying that if the kid is 12 years old and above, the kid does not need the parents' consent to do medical transition, to take HRT hormones, to take all those kind of gender transition hormones and everything. The trans activists would argue saying that, hey, what do you care what's in my pants, just fuck off lah. We never cared that for hundreds and years, but we only start to care when it starts to affect our children. You see, each Disney movie right now has a LGBTQ flag, and they are saying that this is inclusion, this is, I'm not trying to hate on them, they are still human. Personally I feel that therapy is more important, because they are facing gender dysphoria. They have to get the right help, not medically castrate them, not cut off their genitals and make them a woman, not implant boobs into a guy and make him a woman. What do you personally think of that? Is this the right thing to do? Like, should we keep on following the Western ideas on regards to this? Because United Kingdom has been a big supporter of Pride Day. Every July they do the Pride March and everything with the drag queens and everything. They even have kids over there. So for me, the point which I start to hate this idea is when it goes to kids. You want to change into the another gender, wait until you are 21 years old, and if you still feel the same, then you transition lah. Imagine if our parents did the same thing, they would not have any tomboys, any soft guys. Those person that we know, they would have transitioned into transgenderism. Do you think this is something that because none of my friends know about this issue, they do not care about this issue. I care personally, because the kids are going to be using the internet. I do not want the kids to be influenced by this, because however we take care of our kids, they are going to have their own social circle. So the social circle will be influencing on how they are going to be brought up and everything. So to summarize everything, how many gender there is?
Right now, in Malaysia so far there's 2 lah, but in US there is, I don't know, 100 plus different type of genders.
Yep.
Because it is a definite problem. I mean, we already have to. I mean, biologically, how you came out should just be a standard thing. When you have until 100, 200, 300, then everything loses. Imagine going for an exam and you need to scroll down 100 different types of gender, and you yourself don't know, even at a young phase, you do not know who you are until you reach maybe your 20s or 30s, or even then you're still figuring out, right? But imagine at a very young age, I completely believe that there should be freedom of speech, but until a certain extent. In fact, like as you are young, right? As terms of children or even teenagers, you are in a figuring out stage. So imagine changing your gender, changing your whatever this one at that time, and you're still discovering yourself. It is definitely a problem, because at the age of 20 or 30, what if you realize that this is not who you are? When we were kids, we told we want to be doctors, lawyers, engineers, and all. Now that we grow up, we are all doing different profession. We find our life differently. So I believe that there should be only until a certain extent, because the US culture, as much as being in Asian culture, we all Asian culture, we were brought up with different ways of teaching, different mindset of growing up. We were taught manners, we were taught how to think. So I believe that both our Asian culture and adapting the US culture should be in the middle. If we can find a boiling point in the middle, then both of it can coexist, in a sense where you know what your gender is, especially when you're talking about gender, you don't know what you want to do until you're 20 or 30. So give them these things should be taught in terms of culture and adaptation, right? Which parents should actually be involved. That's why parents is the main people in the child's life. I believe Dinesh can agree with me that parents are the one that from young until the age of 20 years old, they are the ones that's going to be there until 18 years old. They're going to be there, so they need to know what their child is doing and advise them. This is the period where you need to be part and involved in your kid's life in order for them to grow up to understand this, especially with dealing with the digital world that is so unknown right now.
Okay, Dinesh, do you feel that this transgenderism thingy has infiltrated the school yet? Have you ever faced an issue like this in your school? Have you seen a kid with this issue?
Uh, it's quite PNC question, but we
Okay,
have seen.
okay, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Well, I'm not trying to ruin anybody's career right now. Okay. So let's just
But I do agree with Clara. Actually, the kids need their parents' moral support, until they reach at least age of 20 plus 30, and they are in the stage of they're making their own decision. So I do agree with Clara's point of view.
Okay. All right. And since we are talking about that, right? Do you know the swimming story, Leah Thomas? He's a man who decides that he's a woman at age 32. He's a male professional swimmer. His ranking in the male category was number 535. He was 535. He decides that he wants to become a woman, and he competed in the females NIAA swimming championship. He won first. He took the gold, he took the prize, he took away everything. So this is one thing that I find that it's absolutely fucking disgusting, because how are we going to grow our daughters in sports if this is the case? Because at the end of the day, a man is going to win it anyway. So why do you have to train hard and everything? But this is just a ramble from me lah. But like as Clara said, in an Asian culture we can feel fairly safe, because this is not something that will infiltrate the Asian country, and I'm pretty sure Jakim and Jais would not let this infiltrate our culture. That's one of the thing. Okay, so let's move on from that. My last question: racial discrimination in Malaysia. Do you think right now, at this very moment, 2023, do you think there is still racial discrimination against Indians? And if there still is, why do you think there still is?
I think yes, definitely. It's not I think. I know there is still racial discrimination in the Indian society. For example, when you talk about job applications, and that day I was going through one of TV3's, I can't remember what video was it, but the amount of majority of Indians that don't have work, normal professional work career and all that, is very high in Malaysia, and the discrimination from this is uh everyone is basically racist in Malaysia, but then it's you're really racist, or you're racist in a sense of joking racist. We always make fun of the Indians, we make fun of the Chinese, we make fun of the Malays. These things are very common still. But whether you're making applying all these kind of things in the working world, and whether it's even in school, it's very high. I think Dinesh can answer if it's possible, whether when it comes to students itself in school, whether there is a discrimination from this. Because in the working world, I would say yes, there is still skin color. Because even when you go into, maybe you're taking a Grab, when they see it's an Indian, they're scared that they think the Indian drink and they get mabuk and then they fight. That's the Indian mabuk is always the thing, and then they think that
Indian mabuk, Hindu mabuk mesti gaduh.
yes, and then the concept that they probably still have that thinking that gangsterism, Indians means is involved in gangsterism, Indians means is involved in janaya, those kind of things. All because it's like how in US black is considered, the blacks are considered to be criminals, and this and that is the same thing. And it mainly, I think, boils down to the skin color itself. So this is one of the big problems that we have in Malay. I think the stereotyping of color of your skin and all that. So I believe this is one of the reasons, the concept that they have in their minds, thinking that you're Indian means you get drunk, or you go into criminal this one, and based on your skin color, you're considered you're someone that's bad in society. So I still personally feel this is still around.
Why do you think it is still around? Do you have a straight answer for this? Why do you think this is still around? Is
This is probably
is this
50 years.
sorry, let me finish. Is this because of the Malays and Chinese mindset, or do you think this is something that we, the Indian community, can fix?
This is not just Indians and Malays. Even Indians are racist to Indians.
Yes.
So yeah, so this is an overall. There's an overall thing. We are considered still, even if you think in society, we are still considered minorities in this sense. Even in opportunity and all that. The quota system. We have a quota system, right? So how much of the percentage of Indians, Malays, and Chinese are actually going into the colleges itself, education itself? So in this sense, right, I would say it's 50 years of, or since racism started in Malaysia itself, it's already boiled down. But at the same time, people are opening up, people are becoming a little bit more aware of society compared to last time. It's going to take another 20 or 30 years before we actually come out to all of us being unified.
Yes, I truly agree on that, because I'll circle back later. But Dinesh, you're in a school right now. Do Indian kids still get called Kaling? Because when I was in school like 20 years ago, I got called Kaling, but that was a normal thing and everything. But does it still happen in schools this time?
I don't think so, but because I'm teaching in Tamil primary school.
Oh, okay,
and
okay,
we,
okay.
we so far never heard any issue or any news calling like that in secondary school. But this racial discrimination, it still exists, as in education level also you can see the quota filling for even for secondary school. They are not taking much students from the Tamil school background, even though they have good marks in both curriculum and curriculum activities. So this is one of the issue we faced in our school for this year. I cannot mention the name lah because it's private and confidential. But all these three students are from our same school, but only one got chance to pursue his studies in a higher level. I mean, secondary school education. So the other two, they reappear. Then after that, only one of the student got a chance to enter the school. The other one still in waiting list. So this quota system still exists. We obviously can see in college level, UPU, and other intakes, you know. So
Okay.
rather than making fun, the education level system also they are having the racial discrimination of Indian students especially.
Okay. Okay. This quota system. Okay. Hear me out. Can this quota system be counted if we abolished Chinese school and Indian school and made everybody study in the same school? Do you think the quota system can be abolished by doing this, or do you think it will become something more worse?
Uh, if we can fight for it, can change the quota system. It maybe can give equal opportunity to all the races, so
Yes.
that
Yeah, so like if let's assume there's no Chinese school, there's no Tamil school, there's only like SMK Ibrahim, there's only like one sekolah kebangsaan, but I'm not saying that you should not teach Mandarin, I should not teach Tamil, no, I'm not saying that. Like for example, okay, my idea, okay, may sound stupid, but hear me out. Okay, so sekolah kebangsaan, and you know, during pendidikan Islam, rather than the kid being sent to moral class, let everybody study moral as an extra subject. But during pendidikan Islam, the Chinese go learn Chinese, the Indians go learn Tamil. Yes, you are correct. If we want to do this system, a major change has to happen within the Kementerian Pendidikan to make sure everybody gets equal opportunity. But do you think this is a good step forward or two steps back to abolish Tamil school, Chinese school, and just make everybody study in the same school lah? Do you as a teacher, because I know that you're a teacher working in a Tamil school, you studied in a Tamil school, so what would be your personal opinion on this? Like, if we did this, the Kementerian has to make big changes to make sure everybody gets equal opportunity. If not, we will be more discriminated, our chances will be more plucked off. What do you think about this?
I think by doing this, our chances will be more plucked off, you know. So we cannot make a major change like abolishing all the Tamil and Chinese school. We still need to run Chinese and Tamil school because this has happened 200 plus years ago, right? So rather than making these major changes, they can take a step to give chance by chance in each what we say each departments under Kementerian levels like school, college, universities, etc. So we cannot like this is like a drastic, you know, will be more issue in the future.
Yes, it's drastic, but I'm not saying like, okay, Tamil school, Chinese school gone, everybody go Kebangsaan school and that's all. Maybe like my suggestion is, when this happens, the structure has to change, the quota system has to change, like everything has to change. This is not something that can be done in 10-20 years. I think this is something like a 50 to 100-year-old plan, because I personally feel that I personally feel it's 100% my opinion. I'm not a teacher, I'm not a smart person, I'm just, you know, the asshole on the mic. So I'm just, you know, trying to make sense, because maybe I feel like that because I never studied in a Tamil school. I studied in a Kebangsaan school, sekolah kebangsaan, sekolah menengah also kebangsaan. Maybe that's what is influencing my mind on regards to this lah. But Chandrika, I know that you are sekolah kebangsaan as well. So what are your opinion on this?
I actually agree with you in the sense in terms of abolishing. It's not something that is a now plan, but I agree with her also. With Dinesh in terms of when you abolish, things are going to be a haywire thing. But at the same time, once we abolish, how many years of recovery before we can stable down? Like for example, if you abolish Chinese school, Indian school, and the Islamic school, you get a unified. When you put them all in Kebangsaan and then have them a separate subject, like like you said, moral. For example, you change moral to Tamil and then Chinese. So you have a subject there that covers this. So when you bring everyone in one place, not only it unifies, it also makes them change the quota system. But for them to have all this planned out, it's going to, for the recovery stages, how many years before, it's like how when they change the STPM system, the whole syllabus, they turn it into now module system, semester system, the STPM level. So it actually it was hard for the first 5 years because people don't have new syllabus of what to study for and how to study, what's the thing. But and eventually one thing is it's easier for you to, the pros of it is it's easier to pass the papers, STPM papers, and then for you to go further. But the downside is it actually dropped our entire STPM, the level of how the hard level of how STPM was. It was one of the fourth hardest exams in the world. Now is no more the toughest papers in the world. So that we have to weigh that there is going to be pros and cons of abolishing this entire system as a whole.
Okay, so basically, when we abolish the system, they cannot take 10, 20, 30, 40 years to change the system, because at that moment, Indian and Chinese will already be falling back, and then there's no recovering from that. So are you trying to say like that? So if they make a change, they have to totally change it overnight. If like they're going to abolish Tamil and Chinese school, they have to have a 20 years heads up plan doing on the spot, like something like that, is it?
Yes, they need to have a plan, because when you abolish all this, you're putting them inside a school where everyone was already used to having Chinese school, Tamil school, and Islamic school all got their opportunities and all that. But at the same time, it gives a unified thing. It's just that they might fall back. So you need to already have a plan in mind, how you're going to do it, how the system is going to change, what kind of things. And you're going to expect that the recovery stages, how people are going to react to it before people can agree to the fact of this being a norm. How long before it becomes a norm? So this kind of impact is going to be there for the first few years, whether you can overcome it or and become the best, or you don't do anything much and it falls down and back to square one again.
Yeah, that's correct. We have someone from the chat mentioning that you stop racism at school, at home, not at school. You put 10 races in a school, there is no change. That is I would not even say that is correct to an extent. That is like 100% correct. Racism always starts at home. Exactly. If the parent teaches them segregation, teaches them, I have no way to explain this, but it's very logical actually. The kid doesn't suddenly pop out of the mother's belly and becomes a Hitler or racist fucker, It's parents, like at the end of the day, like what I said initially, the kid is like a blank paper. Everything written on that is the parents effort, the parents teaching and everything lah. I'm hoping in the next 50 years, this is what I realistically hope lah, because in my line of work, I work directly with my company managing directors and everything. Until now, I've never seen one Malaysian Indian as a managing director. There would be Indians, but that Indian is from India. It's not Malaysian Indian. There's Malaysian Chinese, there's Malaysian Malays, but I also do not know why this is this racism, or are we not talented enough to become managing directors? Because a lot of senior managers, they are Indians, Malaysian Indians, senior managers, associate directors, but one step above managing director. Maybe that is something that will change. And strolling back to the stereotype that you mentioned just now, Chandrika, like Hindu Mabo, I have an idea on how to fix it actually. My idea is we Indians have to be self-aware. We are loud. We talk very loud. We are not the most friendliest people. Our face are most of the time are sour grape. Like for example, look at me. Does this look like a friendly face? Like this is something logic. This is something that we Indians have to face head on. Hindu mabuk mesti gaduh. That thing, even a month ago, there was a guy in Cyberjaya Pelita. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen the viral video in Pelita Cyberjaya. He's like what, 30, 40 years old? He's drunk and fighting. I feel like, oh my gosh, it's 2023 and you guys are still proving the other Malay and Chinese point that Hindu mabuk mesti gaduh. It's 2023, like for God's sake. Okay, I drink, so I know when you get drunk, you are not in the state of the mind on doing something. That's why I personally, what I do is, if I did go out with my friends to drink and after drinking they want to makan, I would not makan in the shop. I always will bungkus and get the fuck out of there. I'll go home, I'll eat in my own room. So whatever I do in my room, it's my matter. Because I'm very, very self-aware of this issue. Because when I was around 21, 22 years old, me and my friends in Sungai Petani, when after we drink, we go to the shop, I have a self-reflection that we do harass the waiters. We talk very loud, no matter how many people there are in the restaurant. My personal opinion, I think this will change in the next 50 years. I'm 100% sure this will change in the next 50 years, because most of the people from our generation, they are self-aware. We know why the Malay folks, the Chinese folks call us Hindu mabuk mesti gaduh and everything. Kalau Hindu accident, dia mesti mabuk and everything, because that's what the stereotype our community is proving. That is changing. That is changing a lot, I would say, because maybe we rewind back 10 years ago, there would be more Indians fighting in Nasi Kandar, but right now I think this one is the first one in a couple of years. I'm very confident this would change, because this stereotype is the one that's affecting our job application, our house rent. Everybody is scared to rent out to an Indian.
Yes.
Like they are fucking scared that we'll fucking burn down the house, or I'm not sure what the fuck is going on, but that is changing. That is something good, and I would say this directly correlates to the black people in US, because they are 13% of the population, but they commit 70% of the crime. And the moment that they accept the fact that yes, our genetics, naturally we are violent, like a bit of what I'm saying, we are like Indians. Do you know that until now, if we look at another Indian, he will stare back at us and we stare back at him? I also do not know why we do that. Even I do that. I do not know why I do that, but I think this is genetically encoded into us, and this is something that we must work on changing. The stereotypes are true. It's not wrong. Like Chinese people can't drive, Indian guy drinks and starts a fight. It's true. We have to work on making amends on that. And what else is there to do when we become a parent ourselves? We have to shape the future from there lah. I would say, yeah, that's how we can fight the gender discrimination that's happening over here. And hopefully in the next 50 years, the society that our kid or our grandchildren lives in, who knows, we might not be alive, but who knows, maybe everybody is happy and harmonical and everything.
Yeah.
So so I'm basically out of questions right now, and we have been talking for more than an hour. Actually, do you guys have any questions for me? Because I've been asking all the questions. Do you guys want to ask me any question? Don't ask me why I don't have hair lah. I cannot answer that. Ask me something else.
No, not at the moment.
Dine, I cannot hear you. I think you are on mute. Or are you on mute on purpose? Still cannot hear you. I think you have to call in your tech support to come fix it. Okay, we have one guy in the chat asking a very difficult questions. I think I'll answer. Okay, the question is, See, it's a very fucking difficult question. Federal constitution guarantees right to education. On the other hand, quota system is not provided under law. Could the panel share their view on policy information, policy reformation without abolishing vernacular schools? I seriously, this is way above my pay grade, way above my education. I think you.
He must be a lawyer.
Exactly, he is a lawyer. He is a lawyer. Maybe I'll invite you into the podcast one day, and then you can give me the answer straight away, Lana. Because you already gave me the question. I'll write this down, and then I'll ask you this question one day if you decide to join the podcast, lah. Dinesh, I think your mic is still not working. I still can't hear you. Nope. Still cannot hear you. Okay, I think your computer had enough of me talking, lah. That's why I decided to mute itself. It's okay, lah. I'm out of questions anyway. So basically, thank you both of you. Thank you, beautiful ladies, for taking 1 hour of your time to spend time doing this podcast. I really hope that we can do this again on another day with another topic that maybe I can bring in more people from different racial backgrounds so that we can make this more spicy. We can hear different takes from them, lah. All right. Okay, we are done. Actually, we are done. No need to fix the mic. We are done. Yeah. Right. Thank you so much, guys. Take care. Bye bye.
Guys, take care. Bye bye.
All right. Okay. Bye bye. Alright, okay. So, my wonderful viewers, thank you so much. Thank you so much for viewing the first episode of Machal's podcast. We'll be back next week with more guests with different racial backgrounds. And I'll try to bring in a transgender on this, very hard to find in Malaysia. So, let's hope that this is some start of something great. I'll see you guys next week with a different topic, with a different guest, hopefully. More spicier topics though. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it. See ya.